What's going on, everyone? Hope guys are doing good. Been a little bit since I post because I've been doing a bunch of small, just annoying work on several different vehicles, but I felt like this one was worth it to put it on video. I know that some people have issues with older Mercedes, specifically like W210 models with the seats. Sometimes their adjustability, like it feels like they're stuck. So recently picked up this 99 E430. By the way, it's only got 72,000 miles. I got a thing for that W210 vintage body style. I can't get away from it. They haunt me. I love them. So. But it's not without their issues. I do feel like they're great cars. They feel solid. They drive well. But they're older. They're gonna have their little quirks here and there. No different than me. So one of the ones, one thing that I've been working on since I got this one is figuring out why the seat didn't want to move forward or back. It was almost like it was stuck. So all the other buttons work. The adjustability on the height and the lumbar and the headrest all work. It just wouldn't move front to back. So I had a feeling something was stuck on the on the driver's seat on the right side. So the right side of the track, something was wrong. So what I ended up doing was kind of trying to figure out and look. Initially, I took it apart. So let me just gonna dive in. This is basically off from a junkyard, by the way. So. And junkyards are real fun with no power where you're trying to get something under a seat. How the seat track works on the Mercedes is, this is on your left-hand side when you're sitting down. That's where the motor is. It plugs into like this kind of big control module. And then there's a rod that slides over and comes into here, moves this, which turns this gear right in here, that gear. Now that gear spins another gear down inside of this, which then in turn spins this kind of big rotary gear. And this big rotary gear is actually what latches on to the seat track and then slides it forward and back, right? So I did kind of a quick test. These come with this cover here, which you can actually take this off inside the car. This little kind of test fit cover. Some of them might look a little different. There's some metal ones. The ones that are in there right now are metal. The ones I found at the yard were plastic. So it could be some like nuance changes in different years, but everything went together well and worked. Something else I noticed that was different with like this cradle was these rubber stoppers are a little different than the cradle that I have. Mine are not attached like this. It's something a little different, but not a huge difference. The mechanism in here is going to be the same as long as it looks like this mechanism, which I only found on that W210, the E-Class. The C-Class from the same period is a different mechanism. So, okay, now that we got that under control, what ends up happening is the motor will spin this rod, move this gear. You can take these apart, which sometimes people say that these break. I don't know how these break because this does come out of here and it's very movable. I really don't see this one breaking. You can see how they'll come off, and then you just gotta put it back in because there's a little, like they have a like a protection piece inside of there. Anyways, that over here. Let's talk about what the problem is. So if you're having a problem where you can hear like the motor spinning, it won't move. So you're like, what's going on? So when I took the inspection cover off on this one, I can see this trying to spin. I can see this gear trying to spin, and then nothing is happening. So I'm like, oh, dude, what is going on? Well, let's see if I can pop this out of here real quick, how easy and hard. Well, first, so in order to kind of show you what my actual problem was, you're going to, once you get this rod out of here, there's a brown plastic piece right here that literally will just kind of pop off. This, put that there. That allows this upper gear right here to come off. And then what you're gonna do is this will pop out of the inside of here as a solid piece like this, right? And what I noticed with mine was that there is a gear that goes right here and it fits in here perfectly. See it like that? Mine was broken like this in 3 different pieces. So because it was broken in 3 different pieces, it didn't allow this to spin. So essentially, it would try and then get stuck and then overwork the motor, and we're done. It's not moving or doing anything. So what I ended up doing was going to the junkyard and getting all of these pieces so I could take this apart. That's why it's not here right now. I replaced this gear in the one that's here. You can kind of, if you look, you might be able to replace the whole cradle, but my cradle, since the metal piece was a little different and the rubber was a little different, I didn't want to risk the whole cradle. The gear in here was exactly the same as this gear that I had. Counted the tooths are the same, the way it slid in here was the same. It fit into the car perfectly and it worked. So I can confirm if you do find something like this at a yard, you'll be able to do this. Now, I should mention that this is one of the most pain in the ass jobs that you could possibly do, especially if you're going to a yard to get these parts, because a lot of people won't sell any of this. They'll just sell like the entire seat track, and some people want like $200 for it, $500. All of this, I want to say, was like 26 bucks. So you can't go wrong pulling it. Now, it did take me some time. It's hot. There's no power. And you're doing your best to get under a seat. And the one you need to get to is on the passenger side. Now, this is on the driver's side. If you get these off, you're basically going to take the whole thing anyways. And there is a gear in here too, which could potentially fit. I have not tested it, but I wanted to keep this one just in case now I have an extra motor and extra gear set for when we need it, if something else goes down on it again in the future. I would say prepare yourself if you're going to go to the yard to do this, because everything is a Torx bit. So you need like Torx 30s, you need 25s, you need 20s. Let me make sure. Even these little tiny ones are Torx. So it's almost that everything here that you're going to work with is Torx. Now, the next issue with that is, so I love this. I take this to the yard with me all the time because I like how thin the profile is. And this is 1/4 inch on this side and 3/8 on this side. It just kind of helps when you got to get in the tight spaces, like working underneath a seat that isn't moving. This helped a lot. And then when you get to the point where this no longer will fit, so like let's say you don't have that much room anymore, because sometimes to get under these seats is very tight. What I end up doing is I will take for me, this is a 1/4 inch, right? And sometimes you get lucky, right? If you can slide that in there like this. If you need this, you can then, but it has to be a ratcheting wrench. So now you created a little bit less room. And then, so this is where we're going to start with. This is like in the middle. And then when you want to go to like extreme, you need one of these, and you would take this little bit that's like an impact bit. It's a Torx bit, and you could do the same thing. You would be putting it in here and then holding that. And that is the tightest amount of room that you're going to be able to get right there. And that way, again, has to be ratcheting, but that way you can get some of these bolts out. Now, getting it out wasn't a big deal. Getting it in wasn't terrible either. But you have to remember, before you remove anything out of your car, lift it up as high as you can. Lift everything high, and that way the mechanisms will do their best to stay. You still have to manually force it sometimes to get things back in, but it will give you some time. And then with these little tricks, I'm hoping it'll be a little bit easier to kind of get down and underneath it, because if not, it's a pain. Now, I haven't done this enough at a yard to like get a power box and some wiring and figure out exactly, what plugs I want to push, so that way I can power the seat myself. I haven't done any of that. I would imagine if I do this more often, I would go down that route. But for me, the gear was broken, and that was like a major thing. It's the first car for my son. Like, I like these cars. I think they drive well and they're safe, so I wanted to have this working for him. But I got that done, and honestly, it took me one afternoon. Like, one day, I did the figuring out what's broken. I took it all apart, and I'm like, that's broken. Left the car undone. Went online. I'm like, where's there an E-Class at a yard? I found one. I first went to one yard just to check. That E-Class did not have what I needed. It was a later model, so it wasn't the W202. I'm sorry, it wasn't the W210. It was a later model, which I don't get into those that much. I think it's a 211, but I could be wrong. That one did not have what I needed in terms of like this mechanism and this setup. It was a completely different track. I went to another yard that had an E-Class. It was a black one, and I don't remember what year it was, but it had exactly what I needed. Took it out. Took me some time there to get underneath it and do what I had to do. But essentially, now it works. And much cheaper than if you were like to go to like Mercedes to get any of this fixed. Because this is the reason why I like these old cars. You can fix them yourself, and it's way cheaper to do it than taking them to a dealership. All right, let me bring you in a little closer so you can kind of see exactly what I'm talking about, and I can show you what broke. All right, well, we got somebody mowing, but we're going to do our best. Essentially, how I have you set up right now is how it looks under the seat. So that's on your left side. Rod goes over to the right. It goes through this black piece, which basically screws into here, right? And then when you're looking at this is why I want to make it really clear. You got 4 little bolts here, which I also had on mine was only 2 because mine was metal. You're going to pop this off, and this is what this mechanism looks like. There's a little spring here. That rod, right, slides in through here, spins this gear. To take this off, you're gonna pop this piece off. Then this one might be I put a piece of the gear in there so you can kind of see where it broke, but it might be a little difficult to get off because it's got to spin through the gear. So it becomes a pain in the butt sometimes. So you can get the rod in there and then try and spin it, because then it'll force itself out kind of sometimes when it spins on the gear. Still not like 100% super easy, but it'll work and you'll get it little by little. There we go. So that comes off, and you can only put this in one way because see that spot's closed for that opening right here, and then this is open and it's kind of squared off on the inside there because this rod, if you look at it, it's kind of squared off. It's not round. Once you're here, in case you're having the same problem as me, so my issue was this plastic gear right here was in pieces. So let me see if I can get this out of here. Let's see. There we go. So this piece right here was in 3 pieces, those 3 that you see there, not allowing that to spin and not moving this. Now, in order to get this up, if you turn it, you kind of look like this, there's a little bit of a gap here. You can just very easily put something in there. It will allow you to slide it up. Pull that right out and put this down for a second. And then here you can see where there's grooves here on this plastic piece, grooves here. This little piece right here, the white piece, is what goes up and just where that spring sits in that you saw me remove earlier. The gear set goes in here. So if you remove this, if you have a new gear, you could just slide the gear over. And if you look at the broken pieces of the gear on the inside there is grooves. You'll be putting this in, back, and just basically sliding this all kind of back in there, just like that. And then, you're just going to re-put everything back in. But that was an up close of that. Other than that, I mean, it's a kind of greasy and dirty job, but not terrible. It definitely could be done. And there's, you want this type of stuff working. I'm a big fan of getting all these little things working. So, all right, guys, that's it. Appreciate your time staying, for this really long, boring video. I will say, in case you are curious, how the E430 compares to the E55, they drive about the same in terms of like how comfortable they are, but that's about it. I felt like the E55 is more effortless, stopping, cornering, turning, and acceleration. This one feels just a little bit more heavy, but that's it. Everything else is about the same. I just felt like the E55 was an effortless drive. If you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe because it really helps me out. Thanks a lot. Hope you're having a good one.